Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 187 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast. I'm Christine.
And I'm Sam.
Here's what's coming up in today's show. In our Noteworthy segment, we'll be sharing some of the best websites out there if you're seeking delicious vegan recipes that you can make at home.
And who isn't? And in our main topic, we're looking into how the current administration's policies are affecting animal rights and animal welfare.
Yeah, that continues.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. But before we get into all of that, what have we been up to? Hey, it's Pride Month.
It is.
Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month.
In bigger news, we are now officially pizza eligible.
Yeah, if you've been listening over the past couple of months, Christine and I have been going to the gym. And when we first started this escapade, we decided that after 20 workouts, we would be eligible to go get pizza at Wurlitzer Pizza.
It's one of our favorite vegan pizza places.
I'm calling it our favorite vegan pizza place because,
Yeah.
and actually just favorite pizza place because they're awesome.
Yeah, really good pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're excited for that.
Yes, so we are now pizza eligible. We became pizza eligible yesterday. But
We did.
yes, we became pizza eligible yesterday, and we had thought about, just immediately heading up to Wurlitzer and getting said pizza, but decided not to. Decided to stay home and have a sundae yesterday. So
Yeah, we thought about it, but we're like, let's wait until we're really excited about going for pizza,
yes.
Yes.
Or maybe let's wait for a day where we have other errands to run and we're heading in that direction anyway.
Yeah, because driving an hour for pizza is kind of ridiculous.
It's a little silly. Yeah, when it's not necessary or part of a larger plan.
Yeah. Hey, coldest spring ever we've had.
It has been kind of crazy chilly.
Yeah, it's June now, and I'm still wearing a hoodie.
Yep, me too.
And you wake up in the morning and it's like the heat was on and I was freezing. I'm like, what the heck?
To be honest, I would much rather have this long, cool spring than dive right into things being 80, 90 degrees at the beginning of June.
It's true. It is true. It is nice to have a nice long spring.
It is. I love that we have the windows open. I mean, not right now because somebody's mowing outside and so we need to close the windows in order to keep the sound
As soon as we're
down.
ready to press record,
someone starts mowing the lawn.
Our neighbor starts mowing.
But in general, when we're here during the day, we have the windows open and it's nice and breezy. And
it's good for sleeping, I guess.
It's fantastic for sleeping.
Yeah, so let's just not complain about it.
How about that?
Last week we were talking about how Italy is banning puppy yoga, and we were talking about puppy yoga and animal yoga in general. And we got a couple of responses from listeners.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I'd like to share those responses. We got an email from listener Lisa, who said in her email that she just wanted to comment on puppy yoga. It sounds like a very different setup in Italy. Here in Buffalo, where she lives, she's attended puppy yoga classes where a gym has partnered with a dog rescue organization, and the ticket fees are donated to that organization. And then attendees get the chance to meet some of the adoptable puppies and follow up on adoption if that's something that they're interested in. Both dogs and attendees seem to enjoy the interactions, she said. You don't go expecting to get a good yoga workout, but to support, but to support an organization that works to find homes for dogs that may otherwise be euthanized. And sure, someone might get excited and want to adopt on the spur of the moment, but the dog rescue organization that she's interacted with have a really great vetting process that people have to go through prior to being approved to adopt. So that is completely different than what we were talking about.
Yeah, it is completely different than what we were talking about. I mean, because if I recall, I had said, well, if instead of borrowing puppies from breeders, they were getting the dogs from a shelter, and if it was part of an effort to get the dogs adopted, I could see that a little bit more than what was going on in our conversation last week. I could see that as being a better way of engaging in puppy yoga. My only question is, in this case, is the shelter that is collaborating with the yoga studio or the gym, are they a kill shelter?
Right.
Because if they are, it makes me wonder, should we be supporting a shelter that regularly euthanizes animals simply because they're not adopted within a specific period of time.
Yeah, there are very limited kill shelters now.
Yeah.
Most shelters are no kill.
I would hope so.
But,
I'm
don't
just
know.
curious
Yeah.
to know if that is the case.
Yeah. Listener Emily said, I'll debate the yoga exploitation. We have events at campus on occasion, and it's just meant to be for fun. She's in school to become a veterinarian. So nobody is doing serious yoga practice, just like Lisa said. A lot of the dogs are already therapy dogs or owned by people on campus. In her undergrad, she did it too, and they were therapy dogs as well. Maybe it's different in Italy, she says, but I'm not against it. I would be against rabbit yoga, though, because rabbits are not that comfortable around strangers. They're way too much of a prey species.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share some of our listeners' thoughts on the puppy yoga because people had thoughts on it. And I do agree that there probably is a right way and a wrong way to include animals in a situation like that.
Absolutely. I mean, and I can totally see if, like, I know that even on campus here, they have a session during finals week where students can just go interact with dogs as a stress reliever.
Where do these dogs come from? Do you know?
I believe they come from local shelters.
Okay.
So, and it's just an interaction. You know, there's a room where there are dogs and they can, play with them and pet them and that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And so I can see that if it's kind of a mode of like relaxation.
It's like therapeutic kind of thing.
Exactly. Like I can kind of see that. And if, again, we're not looking at a serious yoga practice that is then somehow incorporating the dog into poses, like I'm not so sure how that would work. So I do think there are a lot of shades of gray, and I think that there are ways to do it ethically.
Yeah.
But I think that those ways would also probably vary from animal to animal, as Emily mentioned.
Sure.
That for rabbits, we should probably just completely steer clear. And I would say the same for possibly goats. I would say the same for possibly cats, just because I know that our cats, all they like to do is lay on the yoga mat.
Right.
They don't want to be involved in anything that's going on. So,
yeah. So I guess we can wrap that up by saying if you see events like this and you find yourself intrigued and you want to go, just do a little research and call the yoga studio that's holding it and say, interested, but hey, where do the dogs come from? Mm-hmm. Are these adoptable dogs? Is this benefiting
where's the money
shelter?
Going?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, just ask some questions because it does sound like there are good ways to do it. So
yeah, sure does.
Yeah.
So thank you, friends, for sharing those thoughts with us.
Yeah, thank you. We don't have a recipe this week, even though Sam said last week she was going to make the recipe.
I did, but
Something
here's the
happened.
thing. We still have something to talk about.
Oh, right. We do have something to talk about.
It was something that could have been a From Our Vegan Kitchen recipe.
Well, yeah. I try to develop recipes and come up with new things, and sometimes they don't turn out so great. So
happens to the best of us.
Yes. Earlier this week, I made a pasta dish, and I wanted to make like a kind of like a high protein cream sauce for the pasta. And I thought, oh, this is great. I just got a really good deal on organic silken tofu. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to make kind of like a silken tofu basil creamy sauce.
Almost like a fettuccine, but without all the cheese.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the sauce turned out okay. I think it was pretty good. It was pretty flavorful. But my mistake was I put way too much of the sauce in with the pasta. Mistake number one. Mistake number two was the choice of pasta. It was just spaghetti. Mm-hmm. And had it been like a fettuccine or maybe even a rigatoni or something that had more surface area,
then maybe the sauce wouldn't have overpowered the pasta.
Because it got kind of pasty and then I had an eggplant in the refrigerator that I needed to use up. So I cooked up this eggplant, and then it just turned out the dish was just kind of beigey looking and unappealing. Anyway, I barely finished mine.
You didn't finish yours.
Yeah, Sam finished hers.
I did.
And was kind and said, it was okay. It was okay. I knew she didn't really enjoy it because with pasta, usually she'll go for seconds, and she didn't go for seconds.
I did not.
And then I had made, for some reason, like a ginormous pot of it. And I'm like, I'm not even saving this. I hate to waste food, but
Yeah.
this was so unappealing.
Yeah.
That I just threw it away.
It wasn't one of your best efforts,
It
you
was
know?
one of my worst efforts.
Okay.
It was terrible.
Well, I still believe that you are harder on your own cooking than you would be on anybody else's.
Yeah, maybe. I don't
think
know.
if I made that exact same dish, you would have been like, oh, it's fine.
I probably would have said it was fine, but
Exactly.
I too would not have had seconds.
And that's perfectly fair.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, one, I don't think it was quite as disastrous as you thought
Yeah.
it was.
Well, it was in the recipe testing kind of arena,
Oh,
right?
certainly.
It's not a recipe I'm going to write down.
No.
As a matter of fact, I would write it down just to burn it. Never, ever do that again.
Yeah. I think the intent was good. And I
Yeah, it
think
was
you
an idea.
should
I had an
keep-
idea.
I really think you should keep working on silken tofu based creamy sauces.
Well, yeah. And I've made some decent silken tofu sauces. I don't know what happened here. I really think it was just a bad sauce to pasta ratio
Maybe.
that became kind of sticky and gross to me.
Yeah. Christine thought it was really gluey, that it
Yeah.
just tasted pasty.
Texturally, it missed the mark completely. And then, like I said, everything was just kind of beigey. I did throw some spinach in at the end just to have a pop of color in it. You know, I would probably add, maybe some roasted red peppers.
That is
or
exactly
something.
what I was thinking.
Yeah, because it was really beigey.
It was quite beige.
Yeah.
I will agree. And she had also tossed in some of Aldi's
meatballs.
vegan
Yeah.
meatballs.
Yeah.
And they were covered in the sauce. So they also were very beige. So yes, it was the least colorful dish I think we've had in a decade.
It was an epic fail. But I thought, I think it's important to share failures as well as things that turn out
Totally.
good, turn out well for us. Yeah. But I am going to work on that because I think it is a cool idea to have like a high protein, creamy pasta.
Like I agree completely. And I want you to take roasted red peppers.
Yeah.
And maybe some tomato and put them in that high protein sauce.
Yeah.
So like making a creamy red sauce with a tofu base, I think could be really awesome.
Yeah, it would be good. That would be good. I'll try that next
Then
time.
put it with some broccoli and zucchini and spinach and all kinds of things.
Yeah. And then use like a rotini or something.
Yeah, a pasta that will stand up to a sauce a little bit more.
Yeah, because the spaghetti was just like, no.
It is true. The spaghetti did not put up much of a fight.
No, the spaghetti
sauce.
was like, help me. Help me. Oh, it was terrible.
Hey, but you know what? We made it through.
Yeah. And on that note, we're going to move to our noteworthy segment, which is we're going to share some of the best vegan recipe websites out there. Now, there's tons of them,
Oh,
right?
God, so many.
So this is just kind of a short list of some, and I would encourage you to message us or email us some of your favorite vegan recipe blogs. I'm trying to keep it to strictly vegan recipe blogs.
Okay.
But here's what we have. Number one on our list is something we've talked about, and someone we've talked about a lot in the recent past. It's Rainbow Plant Life, which is Nisha Vora's website.
We do love Nisha.
Yeah. Her focus is elevated vegan cooking, and highlights of her site is tons of creative flavor, really detailed instruction, and she has a YouTube channel.
Her
to back
YouTube
it up.
videos are fantastic.
Yeah, they really are. They're fun.
Yeah, really, really fun, but very detailed, like the step-by-step instructions that you can follow very, very easily.
Yeah.
She usually brings in her parents as taste testers.
That's always a good
and
time.
They are delightful and funny. And, she's kind of goofy too. Like she makes mistakes in the kitchen and, just kind of rolls with it. So
she's
it's really nice to see a cooking influencer be so very real.
She's really likable.
Yeah, very likable.
Yeah.
Next, we have The First Mess. Now, I'm not familiar with The First Mess myself.
I'm not either. This came up on a list when I was querying for best vegan
Oh, how appropriate that you were querying during Pride Month. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so the first mess, okay, they focus on seasonal, wholesome, plant-based recipes. They go for a really rustic, nourishing kind of focus using a lot of fresh produce.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sounds fantastic.
And I'm going to check that out. I can also include links to all of these in the show notes if
definitely.
you'd like. Another one that I really enjoy is Lauren Toyota's website, Hot for Food.
Again, Lauren is right up there with Nisha and Issa as kind of the queens of vegan cooking.
Yeah.
And we're big fans of Lauren's.
Yeah, she does a lot of great testing too before she publishes a recipe, so you can bet that her recipes are going to turn out every time. But the focus on her website is indulgent vegan comfort food, and the highlights are the fact that she makes junk food plant-based, and that she has, just like Nisha Vora, YouTube tutorials to kind of back the recipes up.
Yeah, so if you're looking for something really decadent, really a throwback to something that you miss from your pre-vegan days, Lauren is really the way to go.
Yeah. And her YouTube videos are also very entertaining because she too is just kind of real. She makes mistakes on camera and keeps it in, and she doesn't pull any punches. She will talk about commenters and put them in their place, and so she's fun to watch.
All right, next on the list is Oh She Glows. This is the brainchild of Angela Liddon. So here the focus is family-friendly, nourishing vegan meals. So really nutritious meals that will be good for the whole family. Also, it's good to know Oh She Glows is a very popular cookbook series, and there's lots of allergy-friendly options on her website and in her cookbooks.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
This next one might be one that you're familiar with. It's Nora Cooks, and I reach out to Nora Cooks every once in a while to see recipes for things, or even just to get an idea how she makes a certain thing. They're easy, family-friendly vegan food, which I'm not exactly sure what family-friendly food is, but but yeah. She does vegan versions of classic comfort dishes like lasagna and cookies. And
can never go wrong with that.
If you're looking for a veganized version of a non-vegan meal, I would reach out to Nora Cooks first.
Yeah.
Before. And her recipes get a lot of really good reviews. I also love that a lot of these recipe websites have a comment area under each recipe where people can say, hey, I made this and it turned out great.
Right.
Unfortunately, sometimes people post, and this kind of drives me crazy. They'll be like, I changed this, and this, and I didn't like this recipe at all. It's like, well, stick to the recipe.
Stick to the recipe. That's right. Don't be changing everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I like changing things up too, and I know you do as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you in particular, you don't like working from recipes in general.
I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind making a recipe out of a cookbook. It's fine.
But in general, when you cook, you kind of
I don't cook with recipes.
You wing it. Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So once you've got something kind of in your arsenal, you will do your own version of it. So you'll make something for the first time from a recipe.
Yeah.
But then you make it your own and you start messing with it. But you always follow the recipe version first.
Yeah, and then
decide how to tweak it.
Then play with it. And I very rarely, if ever, left a comment on a recipe website. Especially if I changed anything.
Right. Yeah.
Because people don't want to hear you're changing. I mean, maybe if you said, oh, I made this gluten-free and it turned out great, that's okay.
Sure.
Something like that.
Of course.
But don't say, oh, well,
I changed half the recipe and it didn't come out.
Yeah. I've even seen on vegan recipe sites where people are using non-vegan ingredients and then wondering why it didn't turn out.
That's just foolish.
Okay.
So next on the list, we have one of my favorites, Sweet Potato Soul. And this is Jenna Claiborne. Jenna is in Atlanta, and her name comes from her insatiable love of sweet potatoes. Now, Jenna's specialty is soul food with a vegan twist. She focuses on Southern classics and Afro-Caribbean influenced food, and her recipes are absolutely spectacular.
Yeah.
Nourishing, flavorful, and fabulous.
Yeah. And like some of the others. She also has a great YouTube channel that backs up some of the recipes that are on her blog. We watched her a lot when we first went vegan.
We did.
You know?
Yeah, she was right up there. We were watching a lot of Sweet Potato Soul. We were watching a lot of Sarah's Vegan Kitchen.
Yeah.
And one that we don't have on this list, but a favorite of mine is Pick Up Limes.
Yeah, Pick Up Limes is not, and I didn't put it on the list because I knew you would talk about it.
Because I can't not, because it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably the most exquisitely staged vegan cooking channel I've ever seen.
Oh, their production is beautiful. Yeah.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Next up is Vegan Richa.
Another good one.
Yeah. And this is a blog run by Richa Hengel, and she does Indian fusion, of course, all vegan. Heavily spiced dishes, which we all love. And she does also have gluten-free options.
Yes, always a good thing.
Yeah.
Now, it's good to know that each of these websites are dedicated exclusively to vegan recipes.
Yeah.
And they ensure that all content aligns with a plant-based lifestyle. So whether you're seeking quick meals, comfort food, or gourmet dishes, these resources have you covered.
Yeah, and like I said, please share some of your favorites because I'm always looking for new recipe blogs to reach out to, like just for inspiration sometimes.
Yeah.
I just like to look at their recipes and read them and go, oh, that's how they're doing that. That's a great idea. I wouldn't think to do it that way. And, you know, and stuff like that. So share the ones that you go to frequently and that you love. It's time for our main topic. You know, this is an ongoing series.
And I think it's going to be for quite some time.
Yeah, this is going to be an ongoing series. Today in our main topic, we're talking about how the current administration's policies are affecting and will affect animal rights and animal welfare.
Yes, the Trump administration has implemented several policies that significantly impact the animal rights movement, primarily through environmental deregulation and shifts in wildlife protection strategies. The first of these is the rollback of the Endangered Species Act, or ESA. The administration has introduced regulatory changes that weaken the ESA, a critical law for wildlife protection. The key alterations to this act are economic considerations in species listing.
Just say that again.
Economic considerations in species listing.
Right. So we're thinking of, who's not making money because this particular animal is on the protected list.
That's right. So federal agencies are now permitted to factor in economic impacts when deciding whether to list a species as endangered or threatened, potentially prioritizing development over conservation.
Yeah, most definitely prioritizing development. There's reduced protections for threatened species. The automatic safeguards previously extended to newly listed threatened species have been removed, requiring case-by-case determination that may delay or deny necessary protections for those species.
And they've narrowed habitat definitions. The definition of habitat has been restricted, limiting the designation of critical habitats essential for species recovery, especially in the face of climate change. So again, here we go, an attack on words.
With the words, let's just change what habitat means.
That's right. We don't like what it means. We don't agree with what it means. Let's just change it.
We'll just change it. Yeah. Budget cuts to wildlife monitoring programs are happening. Significant budget reductions have been proposed for the U.S. Geological Survey's Ecosystems Missions Area, which oversees vital wildlife monitoring initiatives like the North American Bat Monitoring Program. And these cuts threaten the continuity of research and conservation efforts for various species.
And that's not all. The National Park Service has also been disrupted. The National Park Service has experienced operational challenges due to budget cuts and policy shifts, leading to staff reductions and the halting of key environmental programs. These changes undermine the agency's ability to manage natural resources and protect wildlife habitats effectively. In other words, our national parks are going to turn into regular old campgrounds instead of being preservation and conservation focused.
Exactly. And then opening the door to allowing a lot of that land to be used for what's next on this list, which is oil and gas operations that affect marine life. The administration's support for oil and gas activities in the Gulf of Mexico has raised concerns about the threats to endangered marine species, such as the Rice's whale. Environmental groups argue that these operations increase risk of vessel strikes and habitat degradation.
There's also been a push to utilize biotechnological approaches, like, and I'm going to put this in air quotes, de-extinction.
Yeah, de-extinction.
As conservation strategies. Critics argue that this focus may divert attention from traditional conservation methods and lead to reduced protections for currently endangered species.
Yeah. Now, what they're talking about here is using the DNA of extinct species to try and reintroduce those species to the world.
Oh, so you're telling me that because they recently found a direwolf, direwolves could be returned to the wild?
Yeah, this seems like a really great idea. You know, hey, Jurassic Park, has anybody seen Jurassic Park? You know, this is a terrible idea.
It is.
And what it is just a way for them to say, oh, don't worry if the species is going extinct. We'll just
make more.
We'll make more.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's the philosophy, it seems to me, of this entire administration and of the right wing of politics in general.
Yeah.
Is let's use as much as we can and not worry about it, because if we run out, we'll find a way to make more.
Yeah.
Or we'll go take somebody else's.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it doesn't affect them.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. There's being revisions to the National Environmental Policy Act. The administration has directed the rescission of the NEPA and EPA regulations, which could limit public input and reduce environmental assessments for infrastructure projects, potentially leading to increased habitat destruction.
Now, I don't think anybody would argue the fact that there is a lot of infrastructure work that needs to be done in this country. You know, everything that was produced early on during the Industrial Revolution, when our roads and railways and all of that were created.
What was it, the WPA?
There's the WPA, absolutely. So that work has not been maintained.
No, it's crumbling.
And it's crumbling.
Our bridges are crumbling. Our roads are crumbling. Yes. Our water systems are crumbling.
Yes. All of those things.
In almost every state.
Yes.
And so let's roll back the protections, the things that need to be maintained, which the Biden administration freed up tons of money for that. You will probably see signs even in your town that say that, you know, this project was funded by.
Well, we can think of, there's a spot in Erie, Pennsylvania right now along the Bayfront where there's a big sign that says, you know, this road work is funded by the bipartisan infrastructure bill.
Right. That bipartisan infrastructure bill is helping to not only maintain, but create new infrastructure.
Yes.
Not all of it is a good idea.
No, because let me tell you what's going on the Bayfront of Erie, Pennsylvania is
terrible.
Ridiculous.
They're putting in a roundabout where it doesn't need to be.
Where it doesn't need to be. It's just insane.
Yeah, but we're digressing. We're digressing. This is just going to open the door for them to just start bulldozing.
Yeah.
To build probably not even things that people need.
Yeah, it's really hard to say, but regardless, even though I am a firm believer in the maintenance and protection of our infrastructure.
Sure.
That's absolutely essential. It does need to be done in a way that protects and honors our natural resources.
Absolutely.
Wildlife included.
Use some of that infrastructure money, if there's any of it left. I think that they put a stop to it now.
Oh.
I think even some of those grants have been rescinded, but I would say use that money to do what they're doing in some places, like the wildlife freeways that cross over human freeways to allow animals to go back and forth into their different habitats without being hit by cars and such.
Just makes me think of The West Wing. Pluie and the Wolves on the Roadway.
Pluie the Wolves.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're a
Pluie
West
the
Wing
Wolf.
fan, they did it as kind of a joke, but that exists now.
It does, yeah.
Those things exist now.
It's really interesting.
And it is because of projects like that and grants like that.
And of course, we're seeing a reduction of protected land.
Of course.
Significant reductions have been made to national monuments, such as an 85% decrease in Bears Ears National Monument, opening previously protected areas to development and resource extraction. I mean, you've heard the Orange Menace saying it for months, drill, baby, drill.
Yeah.
And he is literally going to unprotect, essentially.
Yeah.
Yes, he's going to remove the protections on a lot of our national land.
Yeah, public lands.
Public lands.
Yeah, and protected public lands. I mean, we're talking things like drilling or mining in Yellowstone.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about affecting hundreds of protected species.
Yes.
It's absurd.
These policy changes have elicited strong responses from environmental and animal rights organizations, which argue that such actions compromise wildlife conservation efforts and prioritize industrial interests over ecological integrity. And I don't think there's any question that that's exactly what is going on.
Yeah, it is exactly what is happening.
Yes.
They have no respect for anything other than the mighty dollar.
Well, and I don't even think they respect the mighty dollar.
Yeah.
They lust after the mighty dollar,
I suppose.
but I don't think they actually respect it.
Yeah. So,
otherwise, you wouldn't spend billions of dollars sending yourself into space for 12 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. So first of all, definitely support if you live near, national parks. Support them in any way that you can. Follow. There's a social media group that's called Alt National Parks. And it was created during the first Trump administration because the actual national parks social media pages were being prevented from sharing factual information about what was happening. So they created an alternative account, and they post on both Facebook and Instagram and Threads and Blue Sky and everywhere.
Yeah.
But definitely follow them because they've been throughout the whole Doge debacle. They shared so much information about the federal employees that were being harassed and fired and forced out of their jobs. And they also share all the information about what is happening within the national parks system.
Yeah.
And it's bad.
Yes.
It's bad. But if you want to keep up to date, I would really highly recommend that you follow that account and support them in any way. And even if that's just by commenting on their posts and saying, thank you so much for all the work that you're doing, that we appreciate that you're trying to protect our public lands and protect the people that have been charged to watch over them,
Yeah, for sure.
And like I said, this is going to be an ongoing process.
Sad but true.
I'm sure we'll have more of this information to share with you as time goes by.
I'm sure we will.
Well, moving on now to our assignment restaurant SOS.
Ooh, and this week's a good one. Oh my gosh.
It is a good one.
This week we are looking at Franchia Vegan Cafe, which is located at 12 Park Avenue, New York, New York. This is where Christine and I went for dinner on Valentine's Day 2 years ago.
Yeah, I can't believe it was already 2 years ago.
I know, but we had one of the best meals we have ever had, and I'm still holding to the fact that their vegan calamari was the single most perfect bite I've ever had.
It was really good. And I think when we talked about that, we said it was some sort of sorcery.
It is definitely kitchen sorcery, without question.
Yeah. Amazing.
Absolutely glorious.
Amazing Asian fusion.
Yes. So they serve creative vegan Asian fusion dishes presented in a serene tea house inspired setting. It is absolutely beautiful. And I highly recommend if you are in the New York City area. They are open from 12 to 9, Sunday through Thursday, and from noon to 9:30 on Friday and Saturday.
You want to take a look at their menu?
Oh, you know I do.
Yeah, me too. They have an entire dumpling menu.
Oh, hey, look, the picture. We sat right there.
Yeah, the picture on their main page
website.
of their website is the place where we
It's
sat.
exactly where we sat.
Yeah. And when we were there, it was a fixed menu.
Yes.
Specifically for Valentine's Day. So some of the things that we have might not even be on.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah.
And also I'm noticing on their website that they have their regular menu and there are also drop downs for a prefix lunch and a prefix dinner.
Yeah. I like a good prefix menu.
Well, it's something that we see so rarely.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of fun. It makes it kind of fun because you're not picking. You're just going, I'm going to trust that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that this is going to be a veritable extravaganza of courses that I probably wouldn't have picked myself.
Well, now in this case, looking at the website, so they provide a prefix menu for parties of 10 or more.
Oh, okay.
And a prior reservation is required for a group that large, of course.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is. But they may also, on special events, for example, maybe a New Year's Eve, maybe a Valentine's Day, have prefix menus available just for those of us who are dining à deux. Yes.
On their regular menu, though, I was saying, they have an entire section of dumplings. Sam is a huge fan of dumplings.
I love dumplings so much.
Love dumplings. They have baby dumplings. So you can just eat more of those, right?
Exactly.
Because they're smaller.
Yes.
They have mixed vegetable dumplings. They have spicy kimchi dumplings. And I think we tried the spicy kimchi dumplings.
We did.
Didn't we?
Yes, we did.
They
were
were
part
good.
of our dumpling
assortment.
assortment.
A dumpling combo. I think that's what we had, the dumpling combo. Yeah, mixed vegetable, japchae, and kimchi.
And they were delightful.
They were delicious.
And then right here under their small plates, seriously, do not sleep on their fried calamari.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it comes with a wasabi mayo. It's really good.
Incredible.
Yeah. They have summer rolls. They have a sweet barbecue vegan pork bun, dim sum.
All kinds of buns. Like really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
And they've got lion's mane bites and fried Manchurian cauliflower. Like, can't go wrong there. Ooh, sweet corn cilantro pancakes.
That sounds good.
And they've got scallion pancakes. That's another deep love of mine.
Oh, those are so good.
I love scallion pancakes.
Yeah, me too. They're really good.
Yeah, amazing.
They also have things like spicy buffalo wings.
They do.
You know, if you're with somebody that's not really into Asian fare, there are some things on here that aren't as Asian inspired.
Well, and also, if you're going for lunch, they have lunch ramen sets that are served with baby dumplings.
Oh.
So I would be all over this. I can see either the spicy miso ramen or the Franchia ramen or the ramen with tonkatsu.
What is tonkatsu?
Tonkatsu. So katsu is a dish that's served in a lot of Japanese restaurants.
Right.
It's usually either chicken or fish.
Right.
It's breaded and fried in panko.
Right.
And so
I've seen tofu katsu.
Yeah. So this is basically what that is.
Okay.
It's going to be a vegan version of a katsu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In a ramen. That sounds really good. They have bibimbap and stone bowl rice.
And then they have a load of lunch specials like tteokbokki, and they do a Buddha's delight.
Oh, I love tteokbokki.
I know. Tom yum noodles. Like, oh my gosh. Can we jump on a train, please? Because, wow.
Yeah, we're gonna have
All
to
of
take
this looks so
a train
good.
trip because there's a couple of places that we wanted to check out in New York, and I would love to go back to Franchia.
They have tempura udon.
Ooh.
Thick and chewy noodles in a vegetable broth with fried shrimp and vegetables.
Yeah.
And knowing how they approach their vegan seafood, I would be all kinds of into that.
Yeah. Tons of noodle dishes, just tons of noodle dishes. It's a really large menu.
It is. It's a substantial menu, both for lunch and for dinner. So
And they
seriously.
have, wow, I don't know, I want to say more than a dozen, maybe 15 or so different vegan sushis that all look really good. They have some gluten-free options.
Yep.
They have gluten-free summer rolls and gluten-free leek pancakes.
Nice. So seriously, if you are in the New York City area, whether you live there or you are visiting, get thee to Franchia because they really are incredible.
Yeah.
It is a true dining experience.
Yeah. And given that it is the first week of the month, normally we would be announcing our previous month's vegan winner.
Our vegan dinner winner.
Vegan dinner winner.
Yes.
But I only got one submission, and it was by somebody that already won. So I'm going to hang on to that submission.
That seems reasonable.
And implore you to listen back. And if you have visited any of the restaurants that we have featured since the beginning of our vegan dinner winner, I think it was March.
I think March was the first one that we did.
When we started that. If you haven't emailed us a picture of a meal from one of those places and let us know what you had, we go ahead and do that and we will enter you in. And as soon as we have enough people, I want it to be fair, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
As soon as we have enough people, we will do another drawing.
We sure will.
Yeah. It's time for our favorite portion of the show.
Must be listener shout out time.
It's listener shout out.
Just want to give a shout out to all my fans watching. I love you guys. I love you.
This week's listener shout out goes to Lee, who is a new YouTube subscriber.
Thanks, Lee.
Thanks, Lee.
Thanks for the sub.
And this is Lee, L-E-E, not L-E-A-H or L-E-I-G-H.
That's
just
correct.
L-E-E. Lee.
That is correct. And we don't know anything about Lee.
We do not.
Other than the fact that this person now subscribes to our YouTube. And like I have said in the past, thank heavens for our new YouTube subscribers. Otherwise, I would have nobody to shout out.
Oh, I tell you.
You know? Mm-hmm. So, Lee, if you're listening, please email us your t-shirt size and address so we can send you a CNC swag bag. You can email that to compassionandcucumbers@gmail.com, and we would love to send you a swag bag.
We sure would. And for the rest of you out there, if you want a listener shout out, please email, text, or DM us. Really, do it. Christine gets so sad when there's no one on the swag bag list.
I do.
She really does. Let us know what you think of the show and tell us a little bit about yourself. You can also always nominate someone else for a shout out.
Yeah, even if you've already had a shout out, nominate somebody else that you've
Someone
maybe
you love.
shared the show with and, you know, they listened because of you. That would be great. And now it's time to wrap it up already. This just flew right by.
It did.
It flew right by. We're at 48 minutes, and it seems like we just got started. But before we go, don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app and subscribe to our YouTube like Lee. Share the show with a friend or family member so that we can reach more great people just like you. Want to get news about the show? Well, you can do that by subscribing to our weekly newsletter at our website, which is compassionandcucumbers.com.
And with that, it's time to sign off. You have just listened to episode 187 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast, and there's nothing left to say, but where cukes and compassion are always the fashion on the podcast.
Thanks, James.
Have a great week, everyone.
We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
We love you.
We really do, and we appreciate you too.
Yes, we do.
Bye-bye.
The end.
If you'd like to support the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast, well, you can do that by hopping on over to our Patreon page and becoming a patron. We have all the recipes from our Vegan Kitchen series up there, and we'll be adding some patron-only episodes in the near future. So thank you for supporting us at whatever level that you choose, and thank you again for listening to Compassion and Cucumbers podcast.